Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this beautiful October morning. And the Electoral Area Services Committee, which is a committee of the Comox Valley Regional District. And this meeting is for the committee to deal with matters that basically span both regional districts, Area D from Strathcona and Area C from the Comox Valley, and the services we provide together. Before I get any further, I don't need to go through the housekeeping items around where the washrooms are. Everybody in this room, I think, knows where they are. So I'm going to go and start with recognition that we are today doing our business on the traditional unceded territory of the Comox First Nation people. First item of business, I would entertain a motion to receive the resolution status report. I'll second it. And looking at it, there's only one item. So is there any discussion on the status report? Then anybody opposed to receipt? Seeing none, that carries. Now into the meat and potatoes of the matter. This is a report concerning the Watuco water system request for conversion to the Black Creek Oyster Bay local water service area report. 8. And I'll second it. And over to our CAO for introductions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning to the committee members. Chris LaRose, our Senior Manager of Water Wastewater Services, will be introducing this staff report and available for any questions. Chris, over to you.
Cool. Thank you, James, and through the chair. Good morning, everyone. So yeah, per the letter attached to the staff report on the agenda, the owners of the Watuco system have provided us an indication they wish to proceed with the conversion process that's been on hold for a few years while they've completed additional due diligence, which has pointed them back to this conversion. So given the time that's passed since our earlier analysis, the feasibility study work that was done about 5 years ago, and the governance work, we're recommending that we be directed to update that past work and confirm the approximate cost per connection for conversion. So we're estimating that this work will cost approximately $20,000, and we're proposing that be funded from the feasibility service. So that will function 153, which is for the Area C. If the committee supports this, we would be initiating the work immediately and likely be in a position to be reporting back with updated analysis and a proposed path forward in first quarter of next year, probably February or March. And then engagement with the Watuco and PCOB customers would be a critical first step after that, once we have the updated analysis. And then an earliest conversion date, if all of this is supported and proceeds, would be January 1st, 2026, but that would be determined in part based on what we find and what we bring back. So that's all I have for you this morning, but happy to answer any questions about the report.
Thanks very much, Chris. So this is funded entirely by Area C?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions from Director Rice? Seems to be okay. So my understanding is there's already been a lot of engineering work done on this. So this is basically just going to bring things up to the modern era and where we're at. Because I know obviously we've had a wee bit of inflation and interest rate hikes since the initial get-go on this. So it's just a matter of reaching into the vault and pulling out the old files and bringing them up to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the governance work, I don't expect there to be much in the way of changes or different direction. The plan would still be to assimilate the Watuco system into the Black Creek Oyster Bay service. So from a governance perspective, it seems fairly straightforward. But like you mentioned, there's been some significant inflation since the last time we undertook this analysis. So there's that, and we've also done a lot of planning work. The water master planning process, for example, has been completed since this work. So there may be a bit of a tweak in terms of what the best way to connect the systems together. So that could drive a little bit of a difference as well. But yeah, but mostly updating the cost estimates.
I suppose the ministry is the walrus that we're dealing with, right, at the province? Is it a combination of ministries or?
Well, the inspector of municipalities would be involved, I believe, in the conversion process. But yeah, otherwise it's mostly local, I think. Yeah.
My concern, of course, is with the current election that it may slow down the capacity of them to respond to. So this may be a further delay. Is that conceivable? Is that logical, or do you think that?
I think if we are reporting back to this committee in February, March, we wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
We wouldn't be engaging with the province until after that.
Okay.
Not formally, although I'm sure there may be some informal.
The government should have their feet by then.
Yeah, hopefully.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So I don't see any further questions, and I'll call the question on receipt. Anybody opposed to receipt? That carries, and there's a recommendation.
I'd like to move the recommendation that staff be directed to work with Watuco Enterprises Limited to update the feasibility study and governance options report completed in 2019 and develop a proposed path forward for review and consideration by the Black Creek Oyster Bay Services Committee, and further that the update study work be funded by Service 153 Feasibility Studies Electoral Area C.
And I'll second that. And seeing no further discussion, anybody opposed to the recommendation? Don't see any, so that carries. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jay. Water restriction dashboard for receipt. I got to be faster on the button there, John. Sorry.
Yeah.
There you go.
Move receipt.
There you go. Okay, do we have a report on this, I guess? Do we? No, just to look at I find this very interesting, the dashboard we come up with. It lays it all out. You can see what everybody's doing in all the water services in the Comox Valley, and they're all quite different. So I don't hear any discussion. So on receipt, all those in favor? Just making sure you're awake. That carries. Now, we have the UBCM Community Emergency Preparedness Fund application, a report for receipt there.
Move receipt.
Second it over to CAO.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. And Bruce Green, our Regional Rural Fire Chief and also Fire Chief of the Oyster River Fire Rescue, will be introducing, I believe, the remainder of the reports on this agenda. So Bruce, I'll turn it over to you for number 3, the UBCM Community Emergency Preparedness Fund application.
Welcome, Bruce.
Okay, through the chair to the directors. As of last year, the UBCM provides emergency preparedness grant funding. And this year it's for the tune of $40,000 for each fire protection area from this Comox Valley Regional District. We, the Oyster River Fire Department, will be looking to pay, go for the $40,000 grant. And as you can see in Appendix A, we're looking at purchasing some radios, training, a decon washer, so decontaminating our gear after a fire call, new bunker gear, PFDs, nozzles, and some hard suction and jet siphons. With that, I open up to any questions.
Any questions from the director? No, I have none as well. I think we've had a fairly good record of snatching some of these grants. So let's just keep our fingers crossed on this one as well. So on receipt. Oh, you want a question? Okay, Ed. Over to the Director Rice.
I don't have any questions. No, sorry.
Right.
Test.
Well, you're lucky being a retired music performer. I've never met a microphone I didn't like, except that one. Okay. So we have no comments on receipt. So I'll call the question on receipt. Anyone opposed? That sails through unanimously. And recommendation?
Sorry, like to move the recommendation that the application to the Union of BC Municipality Community Emergency Preparedness Fund in the amount of up to $40,000 for the Oyster River Rescue be submitted for the fire department equipment and training as outlined in Appendix A of the staff report dated September 17th, 2024, and further that the Comox Valley Regional District commit to the overall grant management should the application be successful.
And I'll second that. Anybody opposed to the recommendation? Seeing none, that carries. Now, the Fire Safety Act, inspections and investigations. There's a report here for receipt.
Move receipt.
And seconded, and over to Bruce again.
It's through the chair to the directors again. So I'm sure you're aware the new Fire Safety Act became in effect on August 1st of this year. It's been I think a 6-year process going through it. The one thing that this report speaks to that came out of that is the local assistant fire commissioner program is being dropped. It is no longer in existence. And so the authorities having jurisdiction, which in this case is the Comox Valley Regional District, has to appoint an inspector and an investigator. That being said, the Office of the Fire Commissioner of the province has stated that they will support us in doing our inspection. So there's no staff position, and we will still maintain being a compliance-based inspection. So our complaint-driven inspection. So the city of Courtenay is compliance-based or proactive. The regional districts are reactive. So if we get a complaint, then we have to do an inspection. If that does happen, we can either do it ourselves or we can request the Office of the Fire Commissioner to do that. So that's the direction we're taking right now. And the other part of this is through conversations I've had with the OFC, there may be some in the not too distant future. I think they're going to go to proactive inspections for everybody. So part of this is making sure we want to send a letter to them saying, keep it the way it is. And for our area, because you're both aware that we're on two sides, we cover two different regional districts. There's uncertainty of who should be appointing the inspectors for the part of our area that is in the Strathcona Regional District. We reached out to the OFC and they said that's for us to determine. It's nothing they want to get involved in. So I have reached out to Sean Koopman, who's the manager of emergency services at the SRD, and he will be appointing the 3 chief officers from Oyster River as inspectors for our portion of the area. And this report is asking us to appoint the chief officer and their chief officers or their designate to be such people. With that, I open up to any questions.
Any questions, Director? Director Rice.
I don't have a question, but I did want to let this committee know that that item already went to our board and it's already been approved. And there was an appendix to it, just for clarity that we know that we get services from the city of Campbell River and the Oyster River Fire Department. So, I think at least on the Strathcona Regional District side, we have a clear understanding what's going on there.
That's great. Yeah, I might add that when the province first broached downloading this on electoral areas, there was a very fierce backlash led by Al Richmond, who was then the president of UBCM. And they did get them to blink. It took quite a lot, but it's reassuring to know that they are ready to pick up some of the tab. Is that correct? And if need be?
So they are willing at this point in time to, if we have a request for an inspection, we can, through a process, ask the local, the fire service advisor for our area to come do that inspection for us. And the other portion of that is we will eventually have to create a bylaw to give anybody the power to do that in our area, which will be something we'll moving forward with next year.
Well, we all know that everything's driven by insurance companies and case law anyways. No use screaming and kicking about it. Okay, so we're on receipt, correct? And so anyone opposed to receipt? Seeing none, that carries. And the recommendation. Trying to get you to come on there.
I'll move the recommendation that the board consider third readings and subsequent adoption of bylaw number 836 be in the Black Creek Oyster Bay Fire Protection. Oh, so jump ahead. I was trying to end this meeting quicker.
I appreciate your attention to brevity.
Yes. I will move the recommendation that the chief officers of the designate of the Oyster River Fire Department be appointed as inspectors and investigators for the Comox Valley Regional District for the purpose of the Fire Safety Act, and further that a letter be sent to the Office of the Fire Commissioner acknowledging our new role and encouraging them to continue providing ongoing support for inspections and investigations in perpetuity. That's a tough word.
And I'll second that. So I don't see any further comments. We're good to go on the recommendation. Anybody opposed to the recommendation? That passes unanimously. And in the same vein, we have the Fire Protection Service Area Amendment for receipt. Again?
Move receipt.
There's a lag here, sorry. What they call it, latency. Okay, any comments from Bruce on this one?
So just quickly, we've done this in the past. What the background of this, did have a fire at 3830 York Road. And we did an amendment 2 years ago and requested them to join at that time. They did not. Since we had it was a brush fire, but since we had a brush fire there, the gentleman came to the office and requested to join our fire protection area. So that is what's before you today, to bring them into our fire protection area.
A very wise resident, I might say. Okay, so any more discussion on extending the service area? Seeing none, call the question. Any opposed? And that carries. And there is a motion to a recommendation motion as well.
I'll move the recommendation that the board consider third readings and subsequent adoption of bylaw number 836 being the Black Creek Oyster Bay Fire Protection Local Service Area Conversion Establishment Bylaw number 1964, 1997, Amendment number 9 to amend the boundary of the Black Creek Oyster Bay Fire Protection Service Area to include the property at 3830 York Road as outlined in the staff report dated September 26, 2024. And further, that the directors for the electoral area C and electoral area D, being the service participants, be authorized to consent to the amendment of bylaw number 1964, being the Black Creek Oyster Bay Fire Protection Service Local Service Area Conversion Establishment bylaw number 1964, 1997 in writing.
That's a mouthful. You did very well. Okay, I'm going to second that. And I'm going to read it all again. Just kidding. So that's the recommendation. I don't suppose there's any comments or questions or of staff. So on the recommendation, anyone opposed? Seeing none, that also carries. Oyster River Volunteer Firefighter Association Agreement, a report from October 2nd for receipt.
Move receipt.
Moved and I'll second it. Again, over to the fire chief.
So this is the last one for this meeting. As you're aware, in 2012, the administrative model changed, and with that, the association became overseers of the budget for the Oyster River Fire Department, and with that came an agreement. The agreement was set to auto renew it every 5 years. But because Oyster River service has expanded to include different fire halls, we made some changes to this agreement. We're asking for blessing of this agreement. The main changes are we've included Merville, changed the financial plan requirements, update the language around community meetings. The manager of fire services role has changed. So we've included that. And also because the manager of fire services or the rural regional fire chief is also the fire chief, the complaint process has eliminated the fire chief and goes directly to the general manager. With that, I open up to any questions.
Any questions from the director? No. We have to change with the times. As long as we're not putting too much burden on you, Bruce.
Not yet.
Not yet. The hair isn't
With my
turning white
choice,
yet.
I'm happy
It'll be
with it.
like mine in 2 years. Okay, so we're on receipt. And I'm gonna call a question on receipt. Anyone opposed? And that sails through unanimously. Now there's a recommendation as well.
I'll move the recommendation that the agreement with the Oyster River Volunteer Firefighters Association as per Appendix A to the staff report dated October 2nd, 2024 be approved. And finally, that the corporate officer and general manager of community services be authorized to execute the agreement.
And I enthusiastically second it. So seeing no raised eyebrows or lights on, I'm going to call a question on the recommendation. Anybody opposed to the recommendation? Seeing none, then that carries. So all that remains now is a motion to terminate.
So moved.
Thank you very much. We are terminated. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming.